Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. We're trying out a different format here just to test it out. Hopefully, it's okay for you and the content stays the same. We're going to give you some new details about what the Republican Party is up to, including some new comments from them as far as a January 6th commission is concerned. But first, let's start with an episode of the DC Comedy Hour, where Senator Ted Cruz, the Republican from Texas, said the Democratic Party is governed and led by the extreme left AOC and Tlaib and Omar, whose statements might as well be issued on behalf of Hamas. Pretty incredible comments from the one and only Ted Cruz. Let's check this out.
The Democratic Party is governed and led by the extreme left, by the squad, by AOC and Tlaib and Omar, whose statements might as well be issued on behalf of Hamas. They are accusing Israel of engaging in terrorism, defending your citizens from violent terrorist attacks is the right of Israel.
Now, if you thought that was interesting, let's take a look at what Andrew Giuliani said as he's trying to take on Andrew Cuomo, who's the governor of New York. Let's take a look at what Andrew Giuliani is doing in order to try and become the New York City governor. He said he has spent parts of 5 decades in government, even though he's 35 years old. In fact, he said he spent parts of 32 years in public service. I guess he was in public service since he was 3 years old. I'm not exactly sure what he was doing, but he said he has spent parts of 5 decades in government. He's 35 years old. So I guess 15 years before he was born is when he started serving the government. Let's take a look at important comments from the one and only Andrew Giuliani, who's running for governor in New York.
The Treasury Department out of the public liaison. And the truth is, Martha, from an experience perspective, I may be 35 years old, but you got to remember, I spent 32 years, parts of 32 years in politics and in government. I'm the only announced candidate that actually has spent parts of 5 decades in politics. So I may look young, but I certainly feel a lot older.
Lee Zeldin is also running to be the Republican nominee. He's already...
Yep, that happened. Now, let's shift gears to the Democrats. Congressman Jim McGovern, who's a Democrat from Massachusetts, read a statement in support of the January 6th commission from the family of U.S. Capitol Officer Howie Liebengood, who died by suicide days after the insurrection during which he was on duty. Let's take a look at this important set of comments from Congressman Jim McGovern, the Democrat from Massachusetts.
Madam Speaker, in the statement, the family of Officer Liebengood states, and I quote, "We believe a thorough, nonpartisan investigation into the root causes of and the response to the January 6th riot is essential for our nation to move forward. Howie's death was an immediate outgrowth of those events."
Now, the one person who is not interested in the January 6th commission is the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. He said this, and I quote, "I made the decision to oppose the House Democrats' slanted and unbalanced proposal for another commission to study the events of January the 6th. Wow, just wow. Let's take a look at what the Senate Minority Leader said. Let's watch.
Now, Mr. President, on one final matter, after careful consideration, I've made the decision to oppose the House Democrats' slanted and unbalanced proposal for another commission to study the events of January the 6th.
Now let's hear from a Democrat, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, who's from Brooklyn. He said this about the Capitol insurrectionists. They urinated, defecated, and desecrated the citadel of our democracy. And yet a few of my colleagues seem to want to convince America that it was all puppies and rainbows. Yup, I do believe, folks, that some of the Republican leaders think that the American people are idiots. But let's take a look at what Congressman Jeffries, the Democrat from New York, had to say. Let's watch.
A violent mob stormed this building to assassinate the Speaker, hang Mike Pence, and hunt down members of Congress. They urinated, defecated, and desecrated the citadel of our democracy. It was a violent attack designed to bring about one objective: halt Congress from undertaking our constitutional responsibilities. And yet a few of my colleagues seem to want to convince America that it was all puppies and rainbows. We will not be hoodwinked.
As you might imagine, House Speaker Pelosi is fighting back. She says, and I quote, "It sounds like they are afraid of the truth." Let's take a look.
I don't know. You'll have to ask them what they're afraid of. You have to ask them, but it sounds like they're afraid of the truth. And that's most unfortunate. But hopefully they'll get used to the idea that the American people want us to find the truth. And that is what we intend to do. And to do it in a way that is as unifying as possible.
And House Speaker Pelosi is not done. In a brand new tweet from House Speaker Pelosi that you'll see on your screen, she says this: Americans deserve an impartial account of the January 6th attack. Families of the United States Capitol Police officers, 9/11 Commission chairs, 140 national security leaders, and representatives of both parties support a bipartisan commission. But what is the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell afraid of? Does he want to hide the truth? What's he afraid of? Let's take a look at this segment, this additional segment from House Speaker Pelosi.
It sounds like they're afraid of the truth, and that's most unfortunate. But hopefully they'll get used to the idea that the American people want us to find the truth. And that is what we intend to do. And to do it in a way that is as unifying as possible. As we find the truth, we strengthen our democracy.
And if you thought that was intense, wait till you see this. Congressman Tim Ryan from Ohio went off on Republicans for opposing the January 6th Commission. He said this: we have people scaling the Capitol, hitting Capitol Police with lead pipes across the head, and we cannot get bipartisanship. This is a slap in the face to every rank and file cop in the United States. In a very powerful and intense segment, let's take a look at Congressman Tim Ryan.
Benghazi, you guys chased the former Secretary of State all over the country, spent millions of dollars. We have people scaling the Capitol, hitting the Capitol Police with lead pipes across the head, and we can't get bipartisanship. What else has to happen in this country? Cops. This is a slap in the face to every rank and file cop in the United States. If we're going to take on China, if we're going to rebuild the country, if we're going to reverse climate change, we need two political parties in this country that are both living in reality, and you ain't one of them. I yield back the balance of my time.
Now, let's go back in time for a moment and let's take a look at what Republicans did in the past. They held a 2.5-year investigation into Benghazi, and Kevin McCarthy admitted that the point was to hurt Hillary Clinton in the election. However, a commission to look into the events of the 6th of January is simply not acceptable to the Republicans. Let's take a look at what Kevin McCarthy said in the past about Benghazi and about how that was used to hurt Hillary Clinton in the election. Let's watch.
Everybody thought Hillary Clinton was unbeatable, right? But we put together a Benghazi special committee, a select committee. What are her numbers today? Her numbers are dropping. Why? Because she's untrustable. But no one would have known any of that had happened had we not fought and made that happen.
In the meantime, the U.S. Capitol officers expressed profound disappointment in comments from McCarthy and McConnell. And here's their full statement on your screen. It's a pretty incredible statement. We'll provide you with a link to this statement in the description section below. But the bottom line is that the police officers are expressing profound disappointment and they wrote, "It is inconceivable that some of the members we protect would downplay the events of January 6th. Member safety was dependent upon the heroic actions of the United States Capitol Police. It is a privileged assumption for members to have the point of view that it wasn't that bad. That privilege exists because of the brave men and women of the United States Capitol Police who protected you, the members." Pretty incredible. And this is a statement worth reading, as you can see on your screen. Oh, and in a new level of crazy, speaking of crazy, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Republican from Georgia, said, I quote, "The people who breached the Capitol on January 6th are being abused." Yep, that's what she said. Let's roll the tape and hear from the one and only Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has been using all of these recent opportunities with her increased media exposure to get more funds raised on behalf of her campaign. She was removed from several committees, but I guess she has to stay busy by creating trouble and by creating more fundraising opportunities for what she's doing. Let's take a look at what she said.
The people who breached the Capitol on January 6th are being abused, some even being held for 23 hours a day in solitary confinement.
That's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. That would mean a lot to me. That really helps out the channel. That is your way of supporting our channel. I really appreciate you. Check out this video. It's a little bit of information about me. You learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like and why you should listen to me. I want you to know I greatly appreciate you. I work hard on this channel every single day for you. I hope this new format is interesting. It's something we are trying out as an experiment, and I hope you like it. Let me know what you think of the new format, and of course the old format will stay, but this is just a newer format for us to be able to become a little bit more streamlined with our content. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.